The Texas Tech football team returned home for their first afternoon showdown at the Jones in 2023. Coming up, MCTV Sports' Mia Fletcher will let us know if the Red Raiders finally found their way to a Big 12 victory.
The football game brought more than the regular set of fans to the Hub City for the weekend. Some special guests were also on campus to cheer for the Red and Black. We'll have a look at Family Weekend 2023.
And a weird new business venture here in Lubbock will soon lead to an unusually creative attraction for people all over the South Plains. Find out how a recent event is helping bring a new form of art gallery to the Hub City.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Macee Mainord.
And I'm Fernando Cruz. Jones AT&T Stadium hosted the first afternoon football game of the season on Saturday, marking the beginning of a new in-state conference rivalry for the Red Raiders.
MCTV's Mia Fletcher joins us now in studio for a first look at this past weekend's matchup. Mia?
Thanks, Macee and Fernando. Texas Tech football pulled off a huge win against the University of Houston this past Saturday, putting them at both 1-1 and number 10 in the Big 12 standings. The win was the first conference victory for the Red Raiders this season, off the loss against West Virginia the previous week. It also gives Texas Tech an overall record of 2-3, which is now the team's worst start since 2020. Coming up later in sports, I'll have a recap of Texas Tech athletics highlights from this weekend, but also a look at some losses that took place this past week. Back to you, Fernando.
Thanks, Mia. Saturday's football game was a highlight for many Red Raider fans, including hundreds of parents and siblings who were invited to Lubbock for the annual Family Weekend celebration. For 2 days, families had the chance to enjoy more than a dozen events here on campus. The festivities kicked off on Friday and included an evening of fun and fellowship at the Sub. Texas Tech's Office of Parent and Family Relations coordinated the annual set of events, including a TTU Parents Association family dinner in the Sub Ballroom. The dinner featured a buffet that included fajitas and all the fixins, giving families a chance to take a break and meet fellow members of the Red Raider community. Attendees were also able to learn more about the resources available through Texas Tech's Parents Association.
We provide information. The other thing is, it can be kind of scary if you're making that big trip from El Paso or from Houston or from Dallas. We have families along the way, so that if your car breaks down, we'll go and sit with you until tow truck comes. Some people change a tire for or guide you gas. So it's good because your family's engaged. They're engaged in a way that they can be with other families.
Right outside the Sub Ballroom, Family Weekend also included another event that helped some Red Raiders explore options for a new home away from home. The Parents Association, along with the Daily Toreador, hosted a Family Weekend housing fair. Representatives from apartment complexes around Lubbock were able to talk to students and their parents about potential living accommodations beyond the on-campus residence halls. The annual Family Weekend housing fair and family dinner wrapped up around 8 p.m. on Friday night.
Lubbock is home to a growing art community that already features multiple galleries and monthly events, but one new art-based business venture is hoping to bring a uniquely creative experience to the Hub City. The Weird Company hosted the first ever Weird Gala at the CASP 5 & J Gallery on Friday evening. The Weird Company was formed over the summer after the owners of the Little Crows Market and the Oddities Art Market decided to merge together. Since then, the Weird Company has been working to raise money to fund local artists, as well as create a new interactive art exhibit here in Lubbock.
The Weird Company is a collective of Little Crows Market, oddities, the weird space, weird stuff, weirdos. It's a lot of things all in one, and essentially we brought Lubbock the Weird Space, which is the first immersive art gallery here in town.
Friday's Weird Gala featured a silent auction, musical performances, and an update on the status of the new gallery. Guests were also encouraged to dress up as unusual or extravagant as they wanted, with some attendees coming in costume. The Weird Company's new Weird Space interactive art exhibit is scheduled to open within the next few months. Thunderstorms, cooler temperatures, and breezy conditions were all a part of the final days of September and the first day of October, but overall the South Plains experienced a pretty nice weekend.
Even though the thunder and wind were noticeable, the drop in temperatures has been the biggest recent change in the weather. So, will the cooler conditions continue into the first week of the month? Let's take a look at the MCTV forecast. The MCTV tower cam is currently showing mostly cloudy skies this afternoon, and the trees are moving as breezy conditions continue today. We've also seen a drop in temperatures today, with highs just now climbing above the 80 degrees. The temperatures should reach the mid-80s before the sunset, but it will still be cooler than the 90-degree highs from last week. Tonight, another round of thunderstorms is forecast for the South Plains, with the best chance for rain starting around 8 p.m. From there, storm chances continue through the overnight hours, but it should dry out before classes start tomorrow morning. Tomorrow is currently looking a lot like today, with partly to mostly cloudy skies and temperatures back in the 80s. The possibility for rain remains in the forecast through the day, but storm chances will decrease after noon. On Wednesday, we'll see a return of cloudy skies, and there's a good chance for rain and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Storms could continue into the evening, so it might be a good time to dig out your umbrella and raincoat. Even with the potential rain, temperatures are expected to reach the mid-80s, but by Thursday, the rain chances will once again drop, and we should see a lot more sunshine. Highs on Thursday afternoon are currently forecast to be the coolest of the week, with temperatures only expected to reach the upper 70s. Looking ahead, drier conditions return to the area as we head to the first full weekend of October, but even cooler temperatures are likely as we end the week.
As we mentioned earlier, the Texas Tech football team found success at the Jones over the weekend, but the team still seems to be finding their identity 5 games into the season.
MCTV's Mia Fletcher joins us again with another look at the Red Raiders and a roundup of all the other action from another busy weekend in sports. Mia?
Thanks, Fernando and Macee. Texas Tech football has definitely put their fan base through a roller coaster the past couple of weeks, with up and down games throughout the season. But after the game this past Saturday, the light is starting to shine a little brighter here in Lubbock. Texas Tech football is now 2-3 after their 49-28 victory against Houston this past Saturday at Jones Stadium. Tech's first quarter started as everyone had dreamed when Dre McCray flashed downfield as he returned a kickoff for a 100-yard touchdown to tie the game at 7. Baron Morton took on his new role as a starting quarterback after Tyler Shuck's season-ending injury had himself a stellar game. Morton was 14 for 22 and passed for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. Taj Brooks had a remarkable game with 22 carries for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he surpassed 2,000 career rushing yards. While Cameron Valdez also had his standout game, raking in 5 carries for 106 yards and a clinching 41-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter. Tech's 2 100-yard rushers in a game was the first time in conference play since 1998. The Red Raiders also had a season high of 239 rushing yards. The second half of the game was all Texas Tech's defense, as they only allowed 104 yards and didn't allow any points to help secure the win. The Red Raiders will take on their next conference opponent, the Baylor Bears, who are coming off their largest comeback in program history after defeating the University of Central Florida 36-35. Kickoff between Texas Tech and Baylor will be this Saturday in Waco at 7 p.m. One Texas Tech team has been extraordinary this year. The women's soccer team is 11-0-2 on the season with a fantastic 5-0 record in Big 12 play. The Red Raiders took down the Oklahoma Sooners 2-0 on Thursday, which granted them a win streak of 5. Hannah Anderson scored the first of Tech's 2 goals in the win, while the second goal came from Macee Blackburn off of a penalty kick. Texas Tech is also ranked number 1 in the Big 12 and tied with Oklahoma State with a 4-0 record in conference play. Yesterday, the Lady Raiders defeated Cincinnati 3-0 in their 4th straight home shutout at the Walker and their 6th straight win. They'll travel to Provo, Utah this week to play BYU Thursday at 8 p.m. The Texas Tech volleyball team is 1-3 in Big 12 play after an upsetting 0-2 series against TCU last week. However, even with the loss, the few Red Raiders had some very high-performing games. Simone Overbeck posted career highs in both digs and kills Thursday evening, and Maddie Carrera led the team with 7 digs. In Game 2, Reese Rhodes recorded her 6th double-double of the season. Maddie Carrera collected a double-digit dig performance, and Caitlin Dugan and Bryn Williams both collected double-digit kill performances. The Red Raiders are now ranked 8th in the Big 12 behind BYU. They will play the top-ranked Big 12 team, the University of Central Florida, this Wednesday at the United Supermarkets Arena. College basketball season is officially underway, and Grant McCaslin held his first practice as the new head coach of the Texas Tech men's basketball team Thursday morning in the United Supermarkets Arena. The Red Raiders will start their season with a huge game against Texas A&M in the Compete for Cause exhibition tournament in Denton on October 29th. The Lady Raiders also started preparing for their 2023-24 season with their first practice last Wednesday. Texas Tech is looking towards a 31-game schedule led off by the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, November 7th at the United Supermarkets Arena. The Lady Raiders will consist of just 3 freshmen for the upcoming season, but they are bringing back 8 returners from last year's team. That's all for sports today. Back to you, Fernando and Macee.
Thanks, Mia. October marks the midpoint of the fall semester. Along with midterm exams, that also means that the Thanksgiving holiday is just over 6 weeks away.
Although many students already have plans to leave Lubbock and head home for the holiday, some Red Raiders may be searching for a way to get off campus. Luckily, one department is offering an option to get away for Turkey Day. Every year, Tech's Office of Parent and Family Relations partners with Break Shuttle to offer affordable round-trip options for students to travel to several popular destinations. The Thanksgiving bus trips are scheduled to make stops in Austin, Dallas, El Paso, Houston, and San Antonio over the break. Prices range from $145 for a one-way ticket to El Paso to $155 for Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio, and $165 for Houston. All trips leave from the R11 parking lot behind the sub on Wednesday, November 22nd, and each return trip will leave on Sunday, November 26th. Tickets are still available for all trips, and if you are interested, you can visit breakshuttle.com for more info.
So, Macee, I know Thanksgiving is more than a month away, but have you already made plans for the holiday?
I have. My family is going to come down and visit me for Thanksgiving. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go visit them down in Austin.
That's awesome.
That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you next week.